Well, tonight we crack open a special Old Forester King Ranch. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you remember a movie, it was probably back in the 70s, maybe late 70s, with Burt Reynolds called Smokey and the Bandit. Um, Basically, the concept was they were trying to get a truckload of Coors beer from Colorado all the way over to, I don't know if it was Tennessee or South Carolina, someplace like that, east of the Mississippi. And because back then they didn't have distribution on the east side. And it kind of reminded me of how I got this King Ranch, because this King Ranch is only available in Texas. So I have a friend who runs a whiskey channel get this to me, and I'm wondering, was he chased all the way from Texas to Georgia by Jackie Gleason and his son-in-law? Probably not. But it reminds me of, like, why can't I buy this in Georgia? What is the big deal? I know King Ranch, that's a Texas thing, and there's even a Texas almost like stamp on the top, meaning like, if you're not from Texas, don't drink it, boy. Well, my friend in Texas managed to hand deliver this to me. Oh, yeah. And we're going to try out this fine whiskey. It is, part of the Old Forester lineup, just not available everywhere. It's the King Ranch edition, and you can go to oldforester.com and go right to, I found the page, Old Forester King Ranch. It says, celebrates the union of two iconic American brands, Old Forester and King Ranch. Together we created a proprietary batch of Old Forester bourbon, a bespoke blend of whiskey matured in heavily charred barrels and filtered through King Ranch mesquite charcoal. Now, didn't Wild Turkey try that with Matthew McConaughey and the Long Branch? Yeah. That Long Branch is still around, and actually, I think it's a very decent Wild Turkey product. I actually like it. I've got it on my shelf over here. I actually like it better than 101. I do. But it's available only in Texas. This expression is an homage to the values held by both Old Forester and King Ranch, which, if you've ever seen the Ford trucks, King Ranch, it's that same King Ranch. Hard work, the values held by Old Forester and King Ranch, which are hard work, ingenuity, and a lasting legacy. Old Forester King Ranch Edition is presented at 105 proof and won a double gold medal in San Francisco in 2023. Wow, that's that right there. I was so happy to get this bottle, and some other things I got from my friend in Texas that we'll talk about later, because I'm a big fan of Old Forester. I've got, except for the 86, I think it is, I think I've got most of the Old Forester. In fact, I just got a 1924, and a friend lent me an Old Forester 117 that we're going to do a review on. That's like in the 375, the half-size bottle. I haven't figured that one out yet, but we're going to get to that one too. So I'm a big Old Forester fan. I've got the Old Forester over here, as you can see. Single barrel, 1870, 1897, 1910, 1920, and 1924. So the aroma, they talk about dried cherries, cranberries, toasted pecans, and marshmallows drizzled with sorghum molasses. Give that person a raise. That is a great description. I hope that's halfway close to it. I definitely get the molasses first thing. And I do get a dark fruit, so dried cherries and cranberries. I can never pick out these fruits exactly. And I do get a little bit of nut, pecan, could be. Roasted pecan. Not picking up the marshmallow. The molasses is the first thing that hits. Wow. Cheers. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. And I do pick up the mesquite in that almost immediately. It's not overwhelming, but I'm used to picking it up like in the long branch. I actually like that little bit of mesquite flavoring to it, that little smokiness that it brings. They say sweet dark chocolate, tobacco, and other spices mingle with toasted and caramelized oak and nut character. They don't say anything about the mesquite, but I picked that up. Now, I'm not picking up the dark chocolate on this first taste. Tobacco and leather spices, I tend to not really look at them. I think I ignore them on purpose. But the toasted, the caramelized oak, and a little bit of nuttiness, yes. But I'm also picking up some dark fruit. They don't mention the flavor. What I was picking up in the aroma, I'm also tasting. It's quite good. It's not too sweet. It's a little savory with the mesquite. It's a nice balance of savory and sweet. I am picking up a dark fruit, and I really don't get cranberries, but dark cherries, yeah. And that molasses, absolutely. More molasses, brown sugar than maple. And a little bit of just like a hint of nuts. I'm trying to find that chocolate, and sometimes I can almost taste it. Molasses, mesquite, oak, cherries, nuts. There you go, in that order. It's nice. It's tasty. The mesquite is prominent, not overwhelming, but you do pick that mesquite up. You do pick up that kind of smokiness. If you like mesquite flavor, I think you really like. I like it in the long branch. It goes along. Well, I'm getting char, and so some of that may be just the barrel char and not the mesquite, but you cannot mistake that mesquite. It's got a very unique taste. On the finish, they say long and warming. Well, I would agree with that, but a lot of the palate that I taste on the palate is going into the finish. The mesquite goes into the finish. The cherries, a dried fruit, goes into the finish, and some light baking spices. It is lasting. I don't know about warm, or it says long and warming, but the finish is long and it's pleasant. Not great, but pleasant and long. Let's take one more sip, and we're going to go to final thoughts. Final thoughts. Right on the front, they talk about a proprietary batch using heavily charred barrels filtered through King Ranch mesquite charcoal. I'll tell you that is a prominent flavor. The heavy charring and the mesquite is what you pick up almost immediately, followed by the molasses and the cherries and a little bit of nuttiness. It's good, but I'll warn you, it's a little different. It's like having a bourbon that's in char number 5, a very hard. You pick up that barrel char. If you've ever had the Viv and Tucker double char, it's loaded with char. This reminds me a lot of that. You pick up a lot of that char, and then you pick up that mesquite, which is kind of a sweet charcoal flavor. Very unique. I like it. It adds a kind of a smoky taste and a smoky finish. But it's probably not for everybody. If you're a big fan of the Whiskey Road, this is different from the Whiskey Row. It's kind of a combination of, I would say, on mildness of spice, more like the 1870. But then you add in a heavy char and you add a mesquite in that makes it just slightly sweet, but savory, and a good balance between the two. So if you like savory and sweet and you like a lot of char and you like mesquite, I think you're going to like this bourbon. If you don't like heavy char or you don't like mesquite, this may not be the one for you. Maybe something else on the Whiskey Row. This isn't part of the Whiskey Row, but some of the flavors remind me of the Whiskey Row. I get 1870, 1897. It's nothing like the spice of the 1910 or the 1920, but at 105 proof, I think it's a really good proof. I actually like this proof better in this than the 1897, which is bottled in bond and 100 proof. I think this is a perfect proof. I think it's a great balance of savory and sweet, but it is different from most of the Whiskey Row. So that's going to bring me to my recommendation system, isn't it? Well, before we do that, value for the money. I traded this. I did not buy it. I do not know. I'll try to look up and put on the bottom of the screen of what it sells for in Texas or brokers that send it out. Not the secondary market kind, but just regular brokers, and see if I get an idea, like from Drizzly or someone, what it sells for. If you can get outside of Texas, that's going to be the biggest problem. It's going to be availability. So I don't have a value for the money because I traded for it. And I won't tell you what I traded for it because that's between friends. But I'm still happy to get it. I will drink it. It's certainly something different in the Old Forester lineup. It gives me something entirely different to drink. What I like about Old Forester, each one of their products is entirely different from the other. They do a great job of that, and this is no different. So that does bring us to our recommendation system, 1 through 5. 1 means stop the video right now. Well, unless you're in Texas or you're willing to go to Texas, that wouldn't do you any good. And I won't tell you that it should be your next purchase because it is a Texas-only product. I will tell you, because I have 3 levels of recommendations or rankings. The top 3, 1 through 3, is a recommendation. The bottom 2, 4, and 5 is not. I do recommend this, so this is going to fall in shop around for the best price. Whether you're getting it through a broker or you're in Texas and buy it, or have a friend that can hand deliver it to you, shop around for the best price because I don't have any really added value to tell you on what you should pay for it. It is a good bourbon. If you're a fan of Old Forester, I recommend you getting it. If you only like 1910 and 1920, I would tell you probably not your jam. For me, definitely my jam. I'm going to drink it along with the rest of my Old Forester variety. So, we hope you liked this video and will comment and share. And if you've had this Old Forester for some time, and I've just opened it up, so does it get better the longer you have it, or does it pretty much stay the same? I find a lot of charcoal filtered bourbons don't change as much as other bourbons do. I don't know if it's because of the processing, but for me, like a Jack Daniel's that is charcoal filtered stays the same 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, except for the barrel proofs. Now they do change. So let me know what you think of this King Ranch if you've had it. I think it's quite delicious, but it is different. So, as always, never drink and drive. Please drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time.